The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
You're listening to Julian Archer, and I am wide awake on pure O2 because the soul of this country is currently being liquidated in a GOP clearance sale.
Mary Kane here. And if you think the sirens in Queens are loud, you should hear the alarm bells going off in my head after reading today's docket.
I'm John Steele, and I spent all morning bottle-feeding Mitch the goat because he's the only creature in the zip code that isn't trying to dismantle the Bill of Rights for a retweet.
This is Maya Thorne speaking, and honestly, the vibes today are just absolute terminal decline energy. We are high-key in the end credits of democracy.
It is a massive show today, folks. We've got a heavy lift because the Republican machine is firing on all cylinders. Yesterday, we dove into that catastrophic DHS shutdown, 72 days of a national security vacuum, and those high-key demonic SSI rule changes. But today, the fight moves to the marble halls of the Supreme Court and the gutter of the House floor.
It's a lot, Julian. Between the SCOTUS hearing on migrant protections and the sheer unadulterated circus of the Comey indictment, we got some ground to cover.
It's a disaster movie where the script was written by a group of people who haven't read a book since the third grade. Let's get into the meat of it before I lose my mind.
Look, I'm telling you, right now, as we speak, the Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments in Mullen v. Doe and Trump v. Meade, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about the life or death of temporary protected status, TPS, for over 350,000 Haitians and Syrians.
It's a shakedown, Julian, pure and simple. The administration is basically arguing they have sole and unreviewable discretion to kick these people out. It's like a landlord deciding he wants to bulldoze the building while you're still cooking dinner, and the cops say they can't stop him because he owns the dirt.
Here's the thing, though. The government's argument is that it doesn't matter if Haiti is currently a Mad Max wasteland run by gangs. They're saying the executive branch is the only judge of safety.
It is absurd. The State Department has a do not travel advisory for Americans. They're literally saying it's too dangerous for you to visit, but it's totally fine for us to dump 350,000 people back into the gunfire.
It's giving final boss energy. Like, imagine living here for a decade, paying taxes, having a whole ass life, and then the government just decides your aesthetic only legal status. It's a total flop era for human rights.
And it's not just the 350,000, Maya. If the court buys this unreviewable discretion nonsense, it sets the stage for the other 1.3 million migrants on TPS. This is a coordinated strike.
A legal lobotomy for the courts.
Exactly. They want to strip the judiciary of the power to even look at these cases. And while this is happening in the courtroom, DHS is running this worst of the worst website. Look, it's basically a digital scarlet letter for immigrants.
No, literally. It's like a fail compilation, but with people's lives. They're vetting social media for political speech. I'm shadow banned for saying eat the rich, but these people are getting deported because they like to post 3 years ago?
It's the war on reality, kid. I've covered conflict zones where they use lists like this to round people up. Now we're doing it with an algorithm and a shiny UI.
And don't forget the fear economy. ProPublica is reporting a massive spike in scams. Families are so terrified of these sweeps that they're handing over their life savings to anyone who promises a legal shield. It's a banquet for vultures.
And the GOP is the one setting the table. They've created a climate where vulnerability is a commodity.
Speaking of vultures, let's talk about the Department of Justice, which apparently has decided that seashells are a felony now.
No, okay, but it's actually hilarious. They indicted James Comey again because he posted a photo of seashells on Instagram.
They're calling it the Seashell indictment. They unsealed it yesterday in North Carolina. 2 felony counts for a photo of shells arranged to say 8647.
Let me guess. Todd Blanche and Kash Patel are arguing that 86 means assassinate and 47 is Trump.
Oh, spare me. It's a deleted post from 2025. Comey is a private citizen arranging calcium carbonate on a beach, and they're threatening him with 10 years in federal prison?
Low-key, my daily screen time is 14 hours, and I've seen way more sus things on a Tuesday morning than some beach crafts. This is just a total ratio of the legal system. It's main character syndrome, but for the DOJ.
Look, here's the deal. This is the weaponization of the true threat doctrine. They aren't trying to prove he was actually going to do something. They're trying to make the cost of criticizing the president so high that everyone else shuts up.
It's legislative constipation. They can't pass a budget, but they have all the time in the world to convene a grand jury over a beach photo.
It's theatrical. They want to humiliate him. Comey is the white whale for this administration. They don't just want him in jail. They want to mock him on the way there.
It's the villain arc. They're not even hiding the fact that they're using the DOJ as a personal PR firm for the 47 era.
Ugh. And it's working. Because we're talking about seashells instead of the fact that the House of Representatives has basically turned into a broken sump pump.
Well, if you want to talk about broken, look at Mike Johnson. It's Hell Week on the Hill, and the wheels haven't just come off. The whole car is currently on fire in the middle of a car wash.
I saw that Daniel Webster is finally throwing in the towel. 46 years in office. The first Republican speaker in Florida, and he's just done.
He says he wants to spend time with his 24 grandchildren. I think he just wants to spend time with anyone who isn't a member of the Freedom Caucus.
I don't blame him. When the institutionalists like Webster start running for the exits, you know the building is structurally unsound. That's 56 retirements this cycle, Julian. 36 of them Republicans.
It is a total exodus. They can't move a farm bill. They can't move surveillance legislation. They can't even pass a rule to start a debate.
It's giving quit talk. Like, they're just quiet quitting the government. Why stay and get yelled at by your own side when you can just go be a lobbyist or buy a farm like John?
Hey, my farm has more order than the House floor right now. At least my goats understand the concept of a quorum. Johnson is paralyzed. He's stuck between a hard right flank that wants to attach poison pills to every single bill and a looming midterm where his own members are fleeing like rats from a sinking ship.
And you hate to see it, because while they're fighting over who gets to be the most anti-woke, actual infrastructure and transportation bills are just rotting in committee.
It's the great Republican meltdown. They have the majority, they have the White House, and they're still managing to trip over their own shadows.
Okay, but can we talk about the actually scary thing? Like, not just the cringe politics, but the literal water bankruptcy?
You're talking about that UN report on the critical minerals.
No, literally, everyone is obsessed with AI and EVs, right? But the lithium production in 2024 used 456 billion liters of water. That's enough for 62 million people in sub-Saharan Africa. We're basically trading their survival so we can have chatbots that hallucinate.
It's the sacrifice zones again. I've just updated the geography.
I'm telling you, it's a global shakedown. These tech giants talk about sustainability, but for every ton of rare earth material, they're dumping 2,000 tons of toxic waste into the DRC.
I've seen those mines, Julian. Not recently, but I've been there. Physicians are reporting miscarriages and infant mortality rates that would make your blood run cold. We call it green energy, but it's fueled by blood and ink, just like the old oil days.
It's the extraction era 2.0. We're moving the environmental harm from the rich countries to the global south so we can feel good about our Teslas. It's high-key parasitic.
And it's only going to get worse as the demand for AI chips explodes. We're literally mining the future of the planet to power an algorithm that generates deep fry memes?
It is the digital resource war, and the corporations are winning because they own the regulators. You know, talking about these global stakes reminds me why we're even in this room. Independent media like this doesn't just manifest out of the ether. It takes real human work to build the infrastructure. We are 100% here because of the vision and the grind of our creator, Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. He's not a media conglomerate. He is a builder who poured his own resources and time into creating this platform so we could have these conversations. If you value independent voices over corporate algorithms, please like, subscribe, and consider visiting our new Patreon at patreon.com/Neural Network Media to support this work. It's an act of solidarity that keeps the lights on and the servers running.
Solidarity is the only thing we've got left, folks.
Okay, back to the grind.
Speaking of corporate capture, let's talk about the Federal Reserve. Today is the day. Jerome Powell is finishing his final policy meeting, and Kevin Warsh is about to take the throne.
Or as Warsh calls it, regime change.
It's a coup, plain and simple. Powell defended the independence of the Fed, and for that, he got a $2.5 billion investigation by Jeanine Pirro into cost overruns at the Fed headquarters.
Are you kidding me? A political hit job to intimidate the chair into lowering rates. It's a classic protection racket. Nice central bank you got there, Jerry. Be a shame if someone indicted you for the price of drywall.
And look how fast it moved. Tom Tillis blocks the nomination until Pirro closes the probe. Then, snap, he's on board with Warsh. The hostage has been released, and the new guy is coming in to turn the Fed into an arm of the White House.
It's the deinstitutionalization era. We're just checking off the list now. Judiciary, check. DOJ, check. Fed, loading, 99%.
Warsh isn't going to look at the data. He's going to look at the president's polling numbers. If the market dips, he'll flood the zone with cheap money, even if it sets inflation on fire for the next decade.
It's digital snake oil economics, Julian. They want an aligned central bank, which is just code for a compliant one. And while they're capturing the banks, they're tightening the screws on the states. Did you see what happened in Pennsylvania yesterday?
The Fairness Act? It actually passed the House, which was a shock, but the debate was, so mid.
Razor thin, Maya. 101 to 100. Malcolm Kenyatta is trying to pass a basic non-discrimination bill. Housing, employment, the stuff that keeps a roof over your head. And the Republicans spent the whole time yelling about biological boys and girls soccer?
It's the chaos strategy. You take a bill about civil rights and you turn it into a locker room panic.
Literally, Representative Kenyatta was like, this has nothing to do with sports. And the GOP response was basically just trans people exist, and that's a problem. It's total villain arc energy for the State House.
And it's not just PA. In D.C., the House Judiciary Subcommittee was badgering advocates for the FACE Act. They want to dismantle protections for abortion clinics while the street-level harassment is reaching a fever pitch.
They want to make the world safe for extremists and dangerous for doctors. It's a pincer movement, Julian. Legislative protection for the bigots and legal prosecution for the victims?
But wait, there's more. Because we don't just have a crumbling democracy. We have an imperial ballroom to build.
$400 million, Julian! Originally, it was going to be a gift to the nation from anonymous patriots. Now, Lindsey Graham is trying to put it on the taxpayers' tab?
Well, after the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, Graham says it's a national security priority. We can't have the president going to hotels anymore. We need a 90,000 square foot ballroom on the South Lawn.
$400 million for a room to have parties in while teacher wages are down 5%? That is the most let them eat cake vibe I have ever heard.
And don't forget the reflecting pool. They're resurfacing it in American flag blue. Look, it's basically turning a national monument into a mini golf course for autocrats.
It's the edging era of corruption, Maya. They're just seeing how much they can take before someone snaps.
Maybe we should take a page from South Korea.
Oh? You mean the 7-year sentence for Yoon Suk-yeol?
Exactly. 7 years for resisting arrest and bypassing constitutional procedures during his martial law stunt. He's already got a life sentence for insurrection. The Seoul High Court isn't playing games with executive immunity.
That's the democratic resilience I want to see here. A judiciary that actually treats treating the military like a private army as a crime.
No, literally, in South Korea, if you try a self-coup, you get ratioed into a prison cell. Here, you get a $400 million ballroom and a blue pool.
It's because their institutions haven't been hollowed out by a decade of cynicism. They still believe the law applies to the man at the top.
While the DOJ is trying to make sure the law applies to voters in Arizona, but a judge just dunked on them.
This is the voter registration list case?
That Trump appointee Judge Susan Brovich just dismissed the DOJ lawsuit for the 6th time. The administration was trying to force Arizona to hand over unredacted voter rolls, social security numbers, birth dates, the whole ass file, so they could do compliance checks.
So they can purge the rolls of anyone who looks suspicious.
And Fontes hailed it as a win for privacy. It's the one place where a Trump judge actually looked at the law and said, no, the attorney general doesn't have the power to demand this.
Don't get too comfortable, Julian. In North Carolina, they're already pushing the ghost voter narrative. It's a coordinated effort to normalize these purges before the 2026 midterms.
Which brings us to our main story. And honestly, this one broke my soul a little bit this morning. We've been talking about the war on reality for years, but what's happening in New Hampshire is a total eclipse of the truth.
You're talking about Matt Sabourin de Choigny and the Holocaust debate.
Let me tell you, I've seen some things in my time, but a sitting state representative trying to invite a convicted Holocaust denier to a legislative hearing? That is a new level of rot.
Here's the deal. NPR's Consider This just did a deep dive. In January, during a hearing for HB 1162, a simple bill to extend the life of the Commission on Holocaust Education, this Rep. Choinery tried to add an amendment to put a member of the Committee for the Open Debate on the Holocaust on the board.
A revisionist organization? That's just a rebrand for Nazis, right?
Exactly. And he invited Germar Rudolph, a German national who was literally jailed in Germany for denial, to testify. Rudolph sat there on the legislative record and called the murder of 6 million people a hoax.
And the rep posted a photo on Holocaust Remembrance Day saying, ahead of our time? It is absurd. This isn't free speech. It's the formal integration of hate into the state curriculum.
It's the erasure era. First you ban the books, then you ban the history, then you invite the people who say it never happened to write the textbooks. It's final boss censorship.
And the institutionalists in the NHGOP? Governor Ayotte issued a stern statement, but Choinery is still in office. He's still on committees. The normalization is the point.
It's like the sports ban in Pennsylvania. You take something that should be a given. The Holocaust happened, or people shouldn't be fired for being gay, and you turn it into a debate. Once it's a debate, the extremists have already won.
They're moving the goalposts into the ocean. If you can make people uncertain about the gas chambers, you can make them uncertain about the results of an election or the validity of a passport.
It's the funeral for the truth, and we're all just standing around wondering who brought the flowers. This is why we have to hold the line, people, because if we don't, the open debate is going to be about whether or not we even have rights at all.
But we are the happy warriors. We see the Republican terrorists and we call them out. We don't just sit here. We save democracy by exposing the rot.
No, literally. It's a total flop era for them if we keep the ratio going.
Keep the grit, keep the pen moving, and for the love of Queens, don't let them tell you the sky ain't blue.
That's the show for today, folks. We are deep in the trenches, but we're doing it together. Stick with us, because tomorrow is going to be even more action-packed than today. I'm Julian Archer.
I am Mary Kane. Stay sharp.
I'm John Steele.
Go feed your goats.
And I'm Maya Thorne. Catch you in the comments.
Goodbye for now. We're saving the soul of America, one espresso